his entire body, the chest looks like it's made out of cartilage. Like there's just like something weird. Like there's too many organs sticking out. Like he's put shit in him or whatever.
Are you
Like,
talking about the picture of him on a boat?
yes, dude.
Okay, yeah,
Nobody. Have you ever seen? You've seen, pause. But have you seen a lot of guys shirtless due to locker room type situations, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a chest like that?
All right, welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It's November 7th. The election episode. Big T is fresh off his J&N appearance on election night. Thought he did a great job. We're going to get into that with Big T for sure. Brace Belden, good friend of the pod from the True Non podcast, is joining us. Actually, Big T, I want you to talk to him at some point about the reading he's done about the Trump assassin from Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh, I wish we would have.
Yeah, so he like went back and read everything this guy has ever written, and there's a lot of it. This guy was like addicted to posting. He was addicted to writing letters to the editor. Brace has read all of it, and he knows this guy's life better than probably the FBI does at this point.
I would imagine so.
So we'll have Brace back on, and he'll talk to you about that. But Brace is going to talk to us about the election results. We're going to talk about the election results today. I think we actually have a good conversation. I think if you're like looking for people who are upset or like spiking a football, like I think we have a pretty good view of what happened and why. So we're going to talk about politics, but I don't think that we're going to lecture people one way or the other about just Democrats and Republicans. It's a good conversation that we ended up having. And Brace is obviously very funny. So during Brace's interview, a special guest came in, Stu Feiner. He wanted to shoot a promo for me. We're doing a Laugh Factory thing next Wednesday. Go out to the Laugh Factory if you're in Chicago. Me, Stu, Nikki Smokes, Chris Bader, and I believe Mook. So we're doing a comedy thing. Come out and see us. Stu wanted to film a promo for it in the middle of this podcast. So he came in. Then I had to introduce him to Brace. And then we all got to talking, and Stu talked for about 30 minutes. So we're going to take most of that out and jump back in afterwards, because it was like Stu telling his life story, which might be an interesting episode of Macrodosing if we ever do like the history of gambling in America, sports gambling. But yeah, things went pretty far off, so we're going to cut some of that out and then go back into our discussion about the election. And today's show is brought to you by Steven Singer Jewelers. The holidays are almost here. Steven Singer Jewelers has the number one gift. Everyone knows it's diamond stud earrings, and Steven has the most beautiful, best value, real natural diamond studs anywhere. Choose a great pair of Anita diamond stud earrings starting at just $298. Steven Singer's real diamond studs are flawless to the eye. They're nearly colorless, and they come with the unbeatable full value lifetime trade-in. So that means that you can trade up your diamond anytime and receive exactly what you paid towards a larger pair. Steven also has the best guarantee in the business, a full 100-day, 100% no-hassle money-back guarantee. I know it's rock season out there for a lot of you. We got cuffing season coming up. We got engagement season coming up. I mean, think about it. We got Thanksgiving, a lot of people traveling to their significant others' parents' places, big time to get engaged. Christmas, big time to get engaged. The romance of a big city. If you're trying to get your New York moment in and get engaged this winter, you're going to need that rock. And then after that, we got Valentine's Day. Big rock season coming up. Be prepared. Steven Singer Jewelers has you covered. They do fast, free shipping. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Click on the Anita Diamond Stud Earrings, or you can visit Steven's showroom at the other corner of 8th Walnut in Philly. Buy real diamonds from a real jeweler that you can trust. Steven Singer Jewelers. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Okay, we welcome back a very special guest of Macrodosing, longtime recurring guest, number one Kamala Harris supporter in the world. He's very, very sad today. So if you're one of those sickos like Big T, who when I walked into the Macrodosing studio this morning, he had the view on, and I saw it, and I was like, that's perfect, Big T. I love that. Yeah. I love that you're tuning in for this. But if you're like Big T and you want to see a real lib meltdown, we have Brace Belden from the True Non pod. So thank you for joining us, Brace.
I was actually thinking, because remember, like, you guys all must have seen that like video of that lady who's like in the yellow rain jacket and going like, no, when Trump won the first time.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I feel like the libs were very careful this time to try to not do that and get filmed, so they end up in like a compilation of like Trump victory videos for the next 4 years.
Yeah, they made themselves unmemeable. Or
They made
Big T, maybe
yeah.
you've seen one that.
I mean, I didn't see a ton last night because
Exactly,
Jerry and I
yeah.
were live, so I didn't get to see all of it. I heard Joy Reid went off the rails a little bit.
But I saw that too, but it wasn't like, it was kind of nothing.
But
Like,
yeah, it doesn't seem like 16. I mean, there are 45-minute compilations of people absolutely melting down.
yeah.
Whereas it doesn't seem like there was that much.
And also that one lady was just like the perfect distillation of everything that Trump supporters think that liberals are. Like, it was just a perfect vignette into that worldview.
The
we didn't
better
get
part
one.
of that video, that wasn't the election. It was the inauguration. Like, she had held out hope
Whoa.
for 2 months that like they weren't going to let him be the president. And then it was when he got inaugurated, she drops to her knees and screams.
That is funnier. So we'll wait on that for a couple months and we'll see.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
there's
we got
anything
some
that-
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So yeah, we're doing kind of a recap of the election. And Big T, by the way, became a star last night. Big T on JNN, Jerry News Network.
First to call North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and the election.
He hosted our election coverage with Jerry, and he did a great job. I gotta say, like, you guys played it right down the middle.
Yep.
Was that hard to do, Big T?
No, JNN, we're trying to be right down the middle. Jerry was wearing blue and red. I was wearing a purple tie. Like, we tried to play it straight.
It was great. Yeah, Big T became a star. Arian, I don't know if you saw any of the clips, but Big T was electric last night.
Unfortunately,
I
I watched CNN only last night.
Yeah,
They do a good
I
job.
couldn't
Though.
figure out how to change the channels.
So Brace, did you expect this result?
Yes, I did. Yes. Although I've waffled over the past month, I rarely follow elections as closely as I followed this one. At first, I was like, Trump's gonna win. Like, when it was just him and Biden, I was like, Trump's gonna win. He's gonna take this. Biden doesn't know where he is. Like, Trump could tell him that the election is 2 years from now in a debate, and like Biden he would forget that, but he would take that seriously for the rest of the night. And then he dropped out after much uproar. He dropped out after he shit his pants on TV, and everyone was like, Kamala's in, and Kamala's brat. And like, I think everyone started, like, a lot of Democrats psyop themselves into thinking that Kamala was a 22-year-old twink. And like, this is going to be like, this is the new cool campaign. It's young. It's cool. It's going to like be for young people. And then it turns out that Kamala actually has Joe Biden's disease and it's difficult for her to talk on TV. And Trump, I think, has just been like busting up since then. I will say, I went to the Madison Square Garden rally, which sucked. I got to tell you, Big T, have you been to a Trump rally?
I have not.
You love Trump, right?
More or less.
Oh,
Brother.
really? I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, yeah, I thought you were a big Trump guy.
No, I didn't think he was actually.
Really?
I think
I
the
think he's a
assassination
Republican.
attempt
The
radicalized him.
assassination attempt definitely turned me more Trump, but I'm like, Trump was not my first choice either time he ran for president to be the Republican nominee. But
Who
I'm
was your first choice this time?
Vivek.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. A bit subcontinental. But actually, I was at the Madison Square Garden rally. I was stuck in the fucking line. I was saying, Big T, never go to a Trump rally. The
Okay.
lines, you have to stay in line for so fucking long.
So
dude.
I briefly consider, he was in Nashville one time, and my friends and I were like, should we go check it out? Like, see, and they were like, at 9 a.m. the line was 4 hours, and the thing started. So I was like, yeah, we're not doing that.
I went to one in Philly that was like, it was kind of fun, and like the MAGA people, like I've been to a lot of MAGA stuff. I've been to a lot of liberal stuff. It's like, whatever. I love everybody. And this one, and the line wasn't that bad in Philly. I mean, it was there for in line for a couple hours, but I was in line for 4 hours at Madison Square Garden. I get in, and then they have Tony Hinchcliffe get up there and be like, black people carve watermelons for Halloween. And I was like, oh, you guys are like morons. Like, you think that's like a good thing to like have a guy say at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, nobody knows who the fuck he is. I was looking at the old lady sitting in front of me, Googling Tony Hinchcliffe. In fact, one lady Googling, why is Tony Hinchcliffe at Trump rally? But everyone around me was like, a lot of Eastern European immigrants, a lot of South American immigrants, a lot of Indian dudes, and a lot of like older people and a lot of black dudes. And I was like, damn, there's kind of a lot of people, different kinds of motherfuckers at this, a real rainbow coalition at the Trump rally. But because I had such a bad time at the rally because it was 10 hours long and I got sleepy and hungry, I was like, fuck Trump, he's going to lose. But then in the past, like, that lasted for 2 days. And then for the past like week and a half or whatever, I've been like, Trump's going to win. Cause I watched Kamala's fucking town hall thing where it was like the friendliest environment possible. And she couldn't like say an idea that she had. And I was like, Trump's going to take it. And so I bet on Kamala last night because it's smart bet to bet when it's cheap because you can win a lot of money. But I thought that Trump was going to win. And then he did.
That's a sharp betting trend that you spotted there, Brace. So in the world of sports gambling, a lot of times you want to take the points because it's hard to win in this league, right? They pay these guys to play football too, but then sometimes you just run into a blowout where it's like, oh yeah, maybe the Browns actually aren't that good.
Well, and Biden was juicing, obviously, like when he after a few days after the debate when they gave him fucking a little bit of HRT or whatever, he went up there and talked about Five Eyes. But Kamala, unfortunately, I think they took the juice from her because all of her classic quotes of like the coconut tree, or whatever, the like context in which you exist, all that kind of stuff. That was when she was on like 8 bars of Xanax and 2 glasses of wine. And they took that from her when she was the nominee. And she just started like, she couldn't say anything funny anymore.
Yeah. So I think Big T and I have purposely not spoken about what our reasons are for the Democrats to shit the bed so bad, but we think that we might be on the same page. If you look at 2020 and you look at what happened in 2024, Big T, would you say there's 0 counties that she outperformed Biden in?
Not one.
Not a single county. Mm-hmm. It looked a lot more like 2016 than it did 2020 when you look at the votes. In 2020, I'm trying to see what the updated total for her total votes are right now. But in 2020, Biden got 81 million votes, right? And last I checked, she was at about 67 million this morning. California's still counting. A couple other states still counting. So we're looking at about 14 million fewer votes. Trump, I think he got fewer votes so far than he did in 2020, right?
I think he did, yeah.
He has not beaten his 2020 vote count. And Kamala came well short of Biden's 2020 vote count.
Yeah.
If you look at that, I don't know how you take anything else away from this election besides the fact that the Democrats just completely blew it and they did not get anyone out to the polls. And she was not an exciting candidate. It's like 2016 all over again, where it's like if you want people to vote for you and not take their votes for granted, you have to actively communicate with them and tell them what you want to do and your policies that will help them. Yeah. And the Democrats just didn't have that. They ran an election based on vibes, which was like, just we're not Donald Trump, and that's what Hillary. We're not Donald Trump, and also we have the Cheneys. So if you're a Republican, you can vote for us because we've got the least popular vice president maybe ever that is now on our side, who's responsible for like a lot of shit that drove people to become Democrats in the very first place back in the 2000s. Now they're on our side, so we're giving Republicans permission to vote for us, and I don't think that they increased their Republican vote share by a single point. Nope. And the entire time this was happening, Arian, I know you were like this too. You're like, what the fuck are the Democrats doing? Like nobody who is a Democrat wants to see Dick Cheney supporting your ticket. Nobody at all. Why are you courting that vote?
No, this is why like I always try to like differentiate myself and Eric to Big T. Like, there's a difference between like people of the left and Democrats. Like Democrats think that's the way. Democrats think we have to placate to the right. We have to bring the moderate. Fuck that and fuck them. That's how people of the left feel. But Democrats don't feel like that, and why there's a huge split in the left. And that's what you're seeing. You're not Kamala didn't get anybody excited. I was not excited to vote. Like I was on this podcast all the time, like Big T. I don't want to defend Kamala, bro. Like don't put me in a position to defend Kamala because I don't want to. I don't like her. I don't think she's a good candidate. But absolutely, the Democrats shot themselves in the foot in the head because it was such a pivotal election because I don't know for sure, but I feel like Clarence Thomas is probably gonna retire, right?
Yeah.
And Trump's gonna appoint another young Supreme Court judge. So like now we're gonna have a right-leaning Supreme Court for the rest of my life at least. And those kind of things are important. And so the Democrats, and what they won't do is blame Joe Biden, right? They're not gonna do that. They're gonna blame all this other stuff, and but like Joe Biden absolutely is partly responsible because when he was, taking whatever PEDs he had to go do okay in his speeches, he should have had the wherewithal to understand that he didn't have the run and give an actual Democratic primary to get people at least a chance to get excited about another candidate, but they didn't. So they strongholded the Democratic primary, slipped Kamala in there. It was like, well, this is the best we got to work with. We got to make $1 out of 15 cents, and it didn't work. And I didn't think it was going to work. I was, kind of hopeful because there was like this nice little like, okay, there's energy,
Yeah.
It was closer than it would have been if Biden had run.
Ain't no telling, honestly. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, I would have certainly thought so, but I don't know now.
So I can't say that because Kamala didn't do well in any other Democrat. Because as much as I hear comments on this podcast, or I read comments, people tweet me all the time and say I always talk about race. But why do I always talk about race? Race is important in this country. It always has been and always will be. Always. If you look at from sporting events to everything, it's because it was a foundationally built as a racist society. I know people hate to hear that, but it is what it is. And if you look at the demographics and how people live, Black folks live with Black folks, white folks live with white folks, and it's scattered, but demographically we are kind of still segregated in the ways in we live. And the proof of that is one, census data, but the other proof of that is if race isn't important in this country, then why after every poll do they say, how did white women vote? How did white men vote? How did Black men vote? How did Latinos vote, right? They go down the list of what rates demographics and how they voted. And the reason why it's important to differentiate race in this country is because cultures develop in races, right? If you go to a Latino community, they speak different, talk different, feel different, think different than a Black community, right? Majority, right? Like this is how culture is brought up. This is how hip hop came about. This is how rock and roll came about. This is how country music came about because people in a certain demographic grew, has very like-minded experiences, right? That's why it's important. It's not like about who's better, who's worse. It's about cultures developed differently. And so when you're campaigning, it's why it's the quintessential, we got to go to the Black barbershops, right? It's why we got to go to the white evangelical churches. It's why we got to, because those demographics still exist in America today. And so I say all that to say, if you look at the demographics of how, if you look at how everybody voted, the Black folks voted down the ticket. Jewish folks voted down the ticket. So if you look at where Kamala faltered, it was with the Latinos.
Yeah.
And it was and white men didn't, I wouldn't say that they changed their vote, but a lot of them didn't go out to vote, right? And so it's getting people excited about your candidate. And so all that data is important. And so if you want to get your people excited to go vote for a candidate, you got to give people a fighting chance.
And to your point about the, doing a primary, Republicans wanted them to do that too, by the way. Like Republicans were saying, I think most were like, we know Biden is not running. I said that for years. Anyone with half a brain could see that. Just be honest, take him out and say we're going to have a primary instead of installing, and obviously ended up working much to the Democrats' detriment that they did that, but putting Kamala in there with 4 months to go and saying, all right, it's your show now.
Yeah.
No, you could have given your voters a chance to pick someone that they liked.
Yeah, no, we agree. And so like that's the issue. And I'm always trying to tell you, like, bro, I'm not a Democrat, dog. Like, so when people call me a Democrat, it's just funny to me because it's like, I look at Democrats like I look at you, like of the same establishment, but just, slightly a little, yeah, it is what it is. But like, so that's the frustrating part. I think that I'm sitting with like now is like, it's tough because like for like a lot of the online chatter and stuff like that is like their team won. Your team won or your team lost, right? And I don't ever look at it like that because I never feel like I'm on a team. Like I vote on policy. Like I vote on things that I feel like are gonna affect the most people's lives for better or for worse, right? And so like there's real life ramifications that I feel are gonna be detrimental to people, young women, stuff like that. I know you don't feel the same, Big T, and that's our political divide, which is fine. But it's like I don't know. I just feel like the Democrats need to take a long look in the mirror and say, what do we really need to do here? Because it's not working. And I hope they listen to the people, but who knows?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say to Arian's point, if you want people to vote for your party, you have to do something besides have your party platform be like everything that the other side is running on is wrong. You can't the Republican message was crime is bad, immigration is bad right now, inflation is bad. And the Democratic talking points that went against those were basically like inflation's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
And crime's actually not that bad. And our immigration policy is actually not that bad. Because if you look at what it was like, at this blip before COVID, it's kind of at the same level. You need to have a platform where you're actually addressing issues that people care about, as opposed to saying, no, those things aren't a problem for us.
I think that was one of the problems, like with Arian was saying, there's no primary, right? And like Kamala was just chosen. And I think that was kind of like especially because considering the timing of when Biden dropped out, like that's what it was going to be. And like, I think there's certain factors within the Democratic Party it would be tough to get around that. However, the really like the glaring problem with Kamala being like the anointed candidate is the fact that she can't run against Joe Biden. Like she can't run on a platform of saying like, oh, this stuff is wrong, I'm going to fix it. Like there was that sort of famous moment on, I think it was The View or whatever, where they were like, would you do anything different? And she's like, I can't think of anything. It's like, people don't want to hear. I mean, regardless of whatever, like it's just a bad narrative. Like people don't want to vote for more of this. People want to vote for something different, even though they'll never get it. But like,
that gets people excited.
Yes.
That's actually a great point, because it's why people like Donald Trump. Why do people like Donald Trump? I think and this is very I'm casting with the wide brush here. It is what it is. But I think the majority of Americans don't really vote on policy. They maybe have one or two issues that they may feel strongly about. But I feel like they just vote on vibes. And like Donald Trump likes to stir shit up. And we live in the best moment in the world history of stirring shit up.
A content economy.
You said what?
It's a content economy that we live in right now.
And he is a fucking gold mine for that shit, right? And to me, a lot of the it's why he can lie with impunity, because it doesn't matter. That shit doesn't matter. And so the Democrats are always like, but he lies. Nobody cares. All you motherfuckers lie. Oh, you motherfuckers lie too. You just do it so eloquently that you like to disguise. And yeah, he may lie at a higher rate. I will give you that. But like all you motherfuckers lie. So the issue is like, great point you brought up. Brace was like, that's a great chance to stir some shit up in your own party. If you really was with the shits, you know what I'm saying? If you was really like, like, because people want somebody to believe it. And that was in Trump's book, right? If you read The Art of the Deal, he says that. He said people just want something to believe in. And that is his playbook. His playbook is, I'm going to say what I want the truth to be, whether it's the truth or not. And people love that shit. That's why they rally behind him. And that's why I understand the Trump support. I'm not like one of those people who are like, I don't get why people like. I get why people like him. It's 100% true. So again, to your point, but if Kamala's on a View and she says, yeah, I don't like a lot of the stuff Joe does. But he appointed me, but if I was at the helm, we're going to change a lot of this stuff. That would be like, okay,
yes,
what you talking about?
Yeah.
But she was still beholden to the vice presidency. And that's the establishment Democrats for you. They just like, they play by the rules. And if you continue to play by the rules, what I respect about Republicans is they understand the long game, right? They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade overturned for 50, 60 years, dog. For 50, 60 years, this has been on their to-do list. And it's a long ass game, and they followed through, and they took a lot of L's, and they won a little bit. It took a lot of L's, and then they finally found a candidate that I would say the majority of Senate Republicans and House Republicans don't like and don't fuck with. But they recognize he's a vessel to get legislation passed that they agree with, and so they ride the wave to get the shit that they want done, which fuck, I respect it. That's politics in today's world, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's funny with the Democrat platform in particular, like not necessarily the platform, but like with what they run on, like they talk about. Like I follow this stuff pretty closely, and like first of all, it took Kamala like 2 months to come out with like what she was running on because I mean they had to throw it together pretty fast, but they also had to like triangulate it by like not deviating too much by what they're doing right now.
Mhm.
And so like you see it a lot with their like Israel Palestine stuff, right? Like I think there's a lot of people who like I think maybe a little wish casting want to believe that she lost because like she waffled on Israel, or she didn't waffle. She was just like, made a few nice statements about Palestinians, but like basically pledged, kind of like, or just no, she didn't make a few nice statements. She said it's sad that like children are dying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. Yeah.
Death.
That's it. Yeah, she was like, oh, that's too bad. Oh, I wonder what that is. But like,
you know what's funny about that is that Elon was running in his pack. He was running ads in Michigan saying that she was pro-Israel, and then he was running ads in I think Pennsylvania maybe saying that she was pro-Palestine.
That shit's hilarious.
And Kamala, there were packs on her side that were doing the same thing but the opposite. So like in Pennsylvania, they were running the ads that said she was pro-Israel, and in Michigan, the ones saying she was pro-Palestine. So they were like as much shit as Elon got for trying to like stir up the election in that way. She was doing the exact same thing, just opposite. It's so like funny. there's no ethical difference between what the two of them were doing.
No, and like I think like.
Tell me real quick, is that confirmed that he ran those ads? Opposed? Yes. That is why I would like to see.
I've seen the ads. They're
wild.
Crazy.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, brother.
Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
No, that's all good. It's funny because like, I just it like I hate to say it, but like it was so apparent that she didn't stand for fucking anything. And like she's like from San Francisco. Like I've known about her for like a long time, and like I've always kind of just written her off like, okay, she's like a Dem lib politician who like will say kind of whatever to appeal to whatever. But like, I think it's so telling that like at the beginning, like when she first got like appointed as the new candidate, people kept pointing out like, oh, she has the most progressive voting record in the Senate. Like, okay, that's like being the most fucking progressive fucking camp guard at Auschwitz. Like whatever, you know what I mean? Not great. But like it's and like, oh, she is. And then it was like this like weird kind of like energetic period for like a couple months. And then after the DNC, it was like, all right, time to get down to business. We need to get suburban white women. And the way to do that is with Liz Cheney, a politician who lost her seat by the biggest like margin in U.S. history that everybody fucking hates, Democrat and Republican. And like, it's so crazy to me. I think the reality is like Joe Biden, I don't think would have won in 2020 without COVID. I think COVID fucked things up so much.
I believe that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and I think they took that to mean like, oh, people like us. The thing is, people fucking hate the Democrats. People just don't like Democrats. Don't like the Democrats more than like people who like Trump don't like the GOP. People just don't like the fucking Democrats because all they do is yell at you and never do anything good. And so it's like when election is like people choosing which representative of the exploiting class is going to exploit them for the next 4 years, or like or further their exploitation for the next 4 years. People like Trump because who knows what the fuck he's going to do? Like it's the same way like Trump could be like, I'm the peace guy. No new wars. While simultaneously being like, we're going to nuke Iran. Well, like if they talk to Israel or mean or whatever. And people, it doesn't matter because people are like, well, he's doing something different. Like it might work. And the Democrats just don't, I mean, the closest, I hate to say it, the closest is Bernie probably because people were like, he is promising something different. And I think at the like Arian and PFT, you said this too. The fucking vibes really is what matters now. We are in a vibey fucking world, and like the vibes that the Democrats have, I think even if you're a Democrat, you got to say they're not good vibes.
Yeah.
I've said for 8 years, if it was Bernie against Trump, Bernie would have killed him. There are a lot of people who voted for Trump who would have voted for Bernie. They're both old guys from New York. Like, they have a very similar style about them.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who couldn't tell you the policy differences between them. They would have voted for Bernie instead of Trump.
Well, because with Bernie, you know that he's consistent, and you know that he's got a message that he actually believes in, and he doesn't give a fuck what like a focus group tells him. He's like, no, I believe in this. Here's my track record. That's who I am. And he also speaks to the working class in a way that I don't think, well, Biden, Biden, like, he's got the Rust Belt guys that are like, yeah, damn strong union. We're going to vote Biden. But Kamala definitely doesn't have that. I've got an idea. And I want to see what you guys think. For all the resistance libs out there, for the ones that put the safety pins on their lapels in 2016, for the ones who subscribed to Mueller, She Wrote, the ones that got Netflix to put on a bunch of shows that nobody watches.
Mueller, She Wrote.
To all you resistance libs.
Kicked us out of her DNC party, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
But
so much for free
speech. She was
speech.
right to do so. We did sneak in.
So instead of doing all that stuff, what if, just thought experiment, what if you all got together and agreed to vote yes to Donald Trump's job approval rating, like starting on day one? If you just if he just had the highest approval rating, like 95%, we're talking George Bush post 9/11 numbers. If he was just at like 95%, Trump would probably just spend his presidency like golfing, like hosting concerts in his own honor, traveling around the country, and just like being a cheerleader for America, and probably wouldn't do much stuff to. Maybe he would. But we tried the other way. If you're a resistance lib, why not just try placating the bad man's ego in your eyes, and let's just see what he does if he doesn't have enemies to rail against.
I love you, man, but that's a horrible idea.
Okay, might be a horrible idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think this is what I was saying last night. The second that Trump won, I was like, or the second that it was very clear that he was going to win Pennsylvania, which was kind of pretty early on in the night, I was like, you know what? I'm a Republican now. If he can't beat him, join him. And I'm doing it. But the thing is, like, I think what I want to happen. So Trump I don't like, but I actually legit do, in like a pink pussy hat ass, safety pin ass, fucking Mueller, She Wrote ass way. I hate Elon. And like, I hate him, even if his politics were completely different. I just don't like him from a place that, to sound like a Democrat here, probably comes from a place of ableism, but I do not like that man.
Talk about I want you to unpack that one. Yeah.
Well, I think due to certain differences, perhaps maybe his mother was elderly when she gave birth to him, or something. Either the water was too fluoridated or not fluoridated enough.
We're gonna fix that, by the way.
Yeah. We're gonna fix that.
Oh my God.
I think that the way Elon, I think Elon is a fundamentally antisocial individual who is full of shit and like also just fucking annoying to me.
USA.
That was a very good impression, by the way.
I could not believe it.
It was so tonally off that it was melodic, and it was like a melody that I can't.
Yeah, it sticks in your
He
head.
was doing like a higher. He was kind of doing like an experimental. That's what I imagine FKA Twig sounds like an experimental harmony, like above the chanting of the crowd.
It's such an easy. It's very monotone. USA. Yeah, it's the same note. USA.
Yeah, so easy. It's so easy.
USA.
Have you seen? You know that he jumps in the shape of an X?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is fucking.
Wait, is that intentional?
That's what I'm saying. This is
no,
a marketing.
It is intentional.
So now that you say that, I recognize it, but I never would have guessed that that was on purpose.
He dumps in and I gotta say, and again, I'm being. You know what? I'm checking my privilege here at the door. I am being ableist right now. The man's body is funky in a way that I have not seen. He is built like, I don't know. There hasn't been anyone shaped like that I've ever seen. Trump is kind of shaped like that, but like the incredibly like hard, his entire body, the chest looks like it's made out of cartilage. Like there's just like something weird. Like there's too many organs sticking out. Like he's put shit in him or whatever.
Are you talking about the picture of him on a boat?
Yes, dude.
Okay, yeah,
Nobody. Have you ever seen? You've seen, pause. But have you seen a lot of guys shirtless due to locker room type situations, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a chest like that?
It does look like he has swollen organs. That is a great.
Yes.
Yeah, he got a bad body. A lot of people have bad
But
bodies.
I've seen a lot of bad bodies every time I look in the damn mirror. But I look normal ugly. He looks ugly and like that is no wonder he wants to go to Mars because he probably hopes that there's other people that look like that there. That's a low gravity body. But it's actually technically high gravity because it's so big, so it attracts. It's like has like a center of gravity or as a pole. But I hate Elon and the fact that there's gonna be and I'm gonna be crying lib at January or the inauguration or whatever. The fact that there's gonna be a fucking something called Doge, the Department of Government Accountability or whatever it is, the E stands for, that Elon Musk is gonna be a part of. Sure, Big T. I need to hear your take on this. Do you think that Elon Musk should be deciding how we cut our budget?
Probably not. I'm actually not familiar. What is this Doge you're talking about? I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Guys,
is he getting his own department?
Yes. It's not a department because I don't think he's like definitely not going to leave Tesla. Like, I think you can't still be the head of a company and like work in like a government in the way that one would normally think.
Brace, rules don't really exist anymore though. Like he might. I know what you're saying. Like you can't be the richest man in the world and run multiple companies and also serve as a head of a department in government. Yeah. Like that should be like a pretty clear line because all your choices could just directly affect how much money you make off your companies. But it wouldn't be like Trump might just deputize and be like, yeah, okay, you're not an official cabinet head, but I'm going to listen to whatever you say. And then the people that I install as the cabinet heads, I will instruct them to listen to what you say and what I tell them.
That's what he said he's going to do. And it's fucking DOGE, Department of Government
Efficiency.
I can't remember what the E
Which
stands
does
for.
sound like something I'm interested in. Don't know that I want Elon leading it, but that sounds like something I'd be interested in.
I'm sure, but I don't believe that listen, I've done a lot of drugs in my life. I like them. They make me feel good. Sometimes not anymore. It's been a while and they did ruin my life, but I had a lot of good time on I love crack, but Elon Musk is a current drug fiend. And like he is straight up on ketamine 24/7. He's tweaked out in like a Sam Bankman-Fried kind of way on like speed patches. He goes to orgies and he wears fucking masquerade masks to like fuck like a bunch of LA sex workers in his goddamn mansion. This guy should not be like.
It's a lot. Oh no, it's a lot of accusations. Is all of this? I don't follow.
Well, the speed patches, I don't know. Everything else is.
He on ketamine. Like he on ketamine.
He's on ketamine. Yeah, like multiple. Yeah. Like there was like a giant Wall Street Journal report about like Elon's on too much ketamine and all his friends are freaked out because he's like going crazy.
You know how much ketamine you have to be on to have like 4 of your friends call a reporter?
Yes, exactly.
and tell them,
to have your friends rat on
too much
you.
Ketamine
real quick,
and
can y'all learn me on ketamine right quick? Because one of the homies has it, and they was like, "Yo, it's actually pretty crazy, and don't do like crazy amounts. But if you did it once, I think you would benefit from it." And then I did a little bit of reading on it. It's like there's some neural connectivity benefits, maybe. But like, what is ketamine, real quick?
PFT, you want to take that?
Ketamine is like I have never done it myself, but in smaller doses, you can now get ketamine therapy where you sit down in a room.
That's why they have it. I'm sorry, I should have led with that.
They guide you through the experience, and it can help you unpack some things in your life that are cause you trauma or that have caused you trauma. In higher doses, it pretty much kind of paralyzes you, where you get tunnel vision, then you get stuck. They call it the K-hole. Where you're just kind of like paralyzed for a while, drooling on yourself. That's more like on the recreational side. But in smaller doses, which I think is what Elon has been taking, it's kind of like it what's the word for it? It desensitizes you.
No, it's like a dissociative.
It's a dissociative anesthetic.
Yeah.
I took it once. I went to this party and this guy, this greasiest. You know when someone's like sweats a lot, but they didn't wipe it, and it's just kind of like they're just wet, but they're covered in like a layer of wetness.
Yeah, we call that musty.
Yeah, a musty gentleman handed me a CD case with 3 lines. This is like 15 years ago. It's like handed me a CD case with 3 big old white lines on it. Obviously, using the context clues, I'm like, this is cocaine because I've never seen anything else in a white line before. He's like, take it, do whatever you want. I did all 3 of them, and he's like, wow, you really like ketamine, huh? And that's the only time I've ever done it, and I really did not have a good night. But I think I took a little too much. Elon is on it like a motherfucker, like all the time, and like it's just like going insane. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think we should have a fucking ketamine freak deciding to cut welfare. Like he says he's gonna cut like $2 to $3 trillion out of the budget, like, and he's gonna like fix our national debt, and like that's just he's not a normal person. Like he's never like had a normal life. Like he doesn't like he sleeps with 2 replica guns next to his bed and 8 cans of Coke Zero. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the bedside table picture of Elon's house.
Wait, they're fake guns?
They're fake guns, Big T. They're fake guns.
All right. So tell me what the fake guns are for.
One is a 3D printed science fiction style pistol, and the other is a replica of a flintlock gun in like a cheap tourist gift box that you would have gotten from like, I don't know, fucking somewhere in New England or whatever. They are not real guns. They do not shoot bullets. They are fake guns. And I think he has them because he is childlike in many of his.
He also said that investors should want him to keep taking ketamine because it makes him more efficient. Yeah.
Tell about this nigga found a limitless pill.
Yeah, it's ketamine.
Brace is being brought to you by Shady Rays. Shady Rays will get you ready for the game with the latest addition to the Barstool Sports Rival collection. They've got the Barstool College. Shady Rays has partnered with Barstool Sports to bring you a new lineup of premium polarized shades that are perfect for showing off your team pride. The Barstool College collection features bold colorways that are inspired by some of the biggest names in college sports, ensuring that you will find the perfect pair to rep your team. Whether you're at the tailgate or if you're in the stands, these shades deliver all-day comfort and top-notch performance. Plus, with Shady Rays' hassle-free returns and exchanges, you can shop with confidence. Elevate your game day look with the Barstool College collection. Go to shadyrays.com, use code MACRO, get 35% off polarized sunglasses. See for yourself why over 300,000 people have rated these shades 5 stars. Check them out, shadyrays.com, promo code MACRO, get 35% off polarized sunglasses. The best shades in the biz, shadyrays.com. I want to introduce you to somebody real quick. Can Stu come in here? Stu was just shooting Barstool Sports Advisors, one of our gambling shows in the next studio, and he's going to come in for a second. Stu, have a seat real quick.
Okay, first of all, it's a fucking honor.
So,
and it's a pleasure.
Brace, this is Stu Feiner. Stu is the guy that invented, how should I put it, like telemarketing gambling picks. So back in the 90s, he would have like hundreds of thousands of people that would call him up and ask him for their advice on like who's going to win the Jets game this weekend, and he would sell them his picks that he had. He's a legend.
They'll drop down a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, gotcha.
So Stu,
okay, who's here?
Stu, this is Brace. He does a podcast called the True Non Podcast.
Oh, hi, Brace. How are you? Pleasure meeting you.
Howdy, Mr. Steiner. It's a pleasure to meet you.
No, not Stein. Feiner. Stu Feiner.
Feiner. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
If you ever saw the movie in 2008 called Two for the Money, Al Pacino, it was about my life. Al Pacino played me. Rene Russo played Sandy, my wife. Matthew McConaughey in real life played a disgruntled employee that worked for me from 1990 to 95. And they used my Sports Advisors TV show that I had from 1989 to 2003. Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey, and Jeremy Piven were on my show. And let me just wrap it up in a bow. 2016, randomly out of the blue, Dave Portnoy called me when he needed gambling content and said, Stu, me, my uncle, and my father love you. We watched you in the 90s, and we want to bring back your show, The Sports Advisors, rebrand it Barstool Sports Advisors. It'll be you, me, and Big Cat. We're going to exactly do the show as campy as it was in the 90s. Are you in? And obviously, I came in my pants. I said, fuck yes, double fuck yes. when can we snort an 8-ball? So that's basically who I am and how it went.
Amazing. I will say, it's an honor to I have not seen Two for the Money. I've seen about 5 movies in my life. However, you share a rare, I guess, honor of having been played by Al Pacino, because you have Serpico, and the guy from Dog Day Afternoon.
No. Listen, it's the most surreal thing ever. Am I allowed to cut a quick promo with you right now with my phone?
Yeah, let's do it. We got to cut a quick promo.
Next week, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but the Laugh Factory is having, PFT is hosting the show. He's been gracious enough to host it. It's going to be Nick, Mook, and Chris Bader. He's going to host the show, and then they're going to do comedy, and then after that I'm going to do 1 hour telling my life story and trying to be funny. I'm not actually funny, but I'm going to tell my life story, and I have a very good story. Okay, PFT, November 13th, the Laugh Factory.
We're actually doing a podcast right now, and Stu invited himself into the
Macrodosing.
studio.
PFT's been so gracious to me. He's my best friend. He's always been over the top with me, and really, doesn't need to be this nice to me, but he really is. It's like we're blood brothers. It's like we were born together. We're symbiotic twins. We've been born the same day. We're
January
Aquariuses.
31st.
Yes, January 31st. So it'll be me and PFT. PFT's hosting the show, and then it's Chris Bader, it's Nick, it's Mook, who are all 3 professional comedians. And then I'm going to go between an hour and an hour and a half afterwards telling my life story from when I'm 4 years old up to my inception with Barstool. So please come, buy tickets. I don't think we're sold out yet. I only think they sell 350 tickets. So please buy. I actually don't care if you can't afford your rent or car payment or food.
This will pay for itself.
Or tuition.
It's
I don't
like a
care.
Tony Robbins
It'll be
seminar.
the greatest moment of your life. Pay. Laugh Factory, November 13th.
All right, great promo.
I'm sorry I took your time. I love
Thank
you,
you,
everyone. I love everyone. God bless you. May God be with you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you,
Well,
Stu.
Stu.
God bless America, Stu.
God fucking bless this mess.
Stu is the American dream.
I gotta ask the rest of you, did you guys vote on the bet on the election?
I did not bet. No, when I saw the poly market stuff, like it's person to person betting, and it's not like there's a house that's setting the odds on it. So it means that if you have a lot of money, you can swing, you can actually like impact the odds. So everybody that was promoting poly market as being like poly market knows something. Poly market ended up being correct about the election for the most part, but I don't know if that was because there's something about poly market that makes it trustworthy. I think that was just lucky.
I'm still confused. Is that legal?
Not in the United States.
Okay.
So no, it did not.
No, but there's one that I used, and I bet a bunch on Kamala, and because I was like, it's pretty cheap prices, and unfortunately I did keep betting as the prices sunk throughout the night, and consequently I believe I lost about $450, $500.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the house always wins.
Yeah, no, but it's not true. It's not true necessarily, because I think just statistics say, and odds and things of that nature, that if you gamble enough times, eventually you win.
That might be the case. Yeah, if you keep doubling down.
If you keep doubling down, you eventually can win.
You eventually break even.
You eventually break even, and that is a win.
That could be
a win.
a win.
Fun.
Yeah, so,
guys, I gotta go.
Brace, thank you for joining us.
My podcast.
I'm glad that you got to meet Stu Feiner.
I'd love to come back on another time. Anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the show. All right, I'll see you guys.
Brace. All right, that was Brace, good friend of the program. He's gonna be back on. I want to get him back in studio. Him and Big T. Actually, I would not mind seeing JNN make a comeback around the inauguration. With maybe Brace as a panelist.
Now that could be a program.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking with gas here.
That could be a program for sure.
Yeah, I had one little statistical anomaly during the election that I wanted to bring up, or maybe an explanation of how Kamala might have lost Michigan, because that seemed like that was going to be one of her states to win. She did not win Michigan. It ties back into the new NFL kickoff.
Okay,
so
I'm intrigued.
Donald Trump has been the most vocal person in America by a wide margin about the new NFL kickoff being ugly and not being pleasurable to watch. That's why he watches a lot of college football now.
I agree with him,
because you get the old kickoff. In Michigan, she lost a state that many expected her to win. By far, the worst team in the NFL at the new dynamic kickoff is the Detroit Lions.
In terms of what?
That is their one weakness that they have as a football team. So they have the, I believe, the biggest difference between return average and coverage average in the NFL.
Interesting.
So they're not good at the return, and they are very, very bad at covering the new kickoff.
Okay.
And Trump is giving a voice to the voiceless.
Where the Packers, Eagles, and Steelers on that list?
Let me look this up here. Steelers are towards the bottom.
Okay.
So that would make sense with that. The Eagles and Packers, I believe they're about neutral, but they're towards the top.
Okay.
A little bit on the high side. But the Steelers and the Lions are two of the worst
Falcons?
teams. Let's see what the Falcons are.
Do you have this data? Maybe I'll look.
They're towards the bottom of the list.
I would love to see the percentage of kickoffs that are returned, because I would be willing to guess it's in the 20s now.
I think it's gotten higher with a new kickoff.
They're returning more?
Yeah, we're seeing more returns because
I want to see that data.
Maybe not from when you were playing, Arian, but recently.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably true, but they moved the kickoff up a few years ago, and so we were just getting nothing but touchbacks for the last 4 years.
Right.
So last year was 22%, which was the lowest in NFL history. I'm looking for this year.
You said last year was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably up to about 30s maybe.
There's no point in that shit. Just take that shit out. You score, the other team get the ball on the 25.
Mm-hmm.
We save time, and you get to play more football, actual football.
More plays. There's only 12 minutes of actual action during an NFL game.
Mm-hmm.
In rugby, there's 80. 80
far
plus.
superior game.
80 plus. Just saying. Big T, do you have those numbers?
All I'm seeing is only 19.8% of kicks have dropped into the landing zone between the goal line and the 20, which requires a return. Nearly 80% have traveled in the air to the end zone or beyond.
Okay, so 20% mandatory return, and then some that are in the end zone that get returned.
Yeah, so it's probably still about 25.
I think it's a little bit higher last I saw, but not world star. But Trump is very anti-new NFL kickoff. So I guess you could say Cordarrelle Patterson, big winner. Big win for him last night.
Could be, yeah.
Cordarrelle Patterson won the election. Sarah Cooper, is that the name of the girl that does the Trump lip-syncing videos?
I'm not sure.
She lip-syncs to Trump's speeches, and then I think Netflix gave her a big show deal.
Who's she light-skinned black jump?
Yes.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
I don't know if she ever did a show, but they were we like your videos that you post online where you just move your mouth.
Yeah, she was funny.
I don't think she had a show, though.
Who's your GOAT returner, Cordarrelle or Hester?
Oh, Hester. Not even close. Devin Hester is
Cordarrelle broke the record, though.
Yeah, no, Devin Hester is the best to ever do it by a wide margin. I would actually say Devin Hester number 1. Dante Hall might be number 2 when you
electrifying wise.
Yeah, electrifying wise. And then I would say Brian Mitchell is either 2 or 3.
Yeah, they don't remember him.
B-Mitch. So I go on a show in DC every Friday that he hosts. And so
really?
Yeah, he's always going to be on the cusp of making the Hall of Fame, but he's probably not going to make it, unfortunately. But I've been trying to start that awareness movement that Brian Mitchell should be in the Hall of Fame. I think his all-time yardage total is one of the highest, if not the highest, in NFL history. Let me see.
Oh, by the way, Hester has the most kick and punt returns. Cordarrelle just has the most kick returns.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Are we getting back into the big man, or are we doing kick returns now?
We can get back inside the big man.
Yeah, a little.
Brian Mitchell is the NFL's second all-time leader in total yardage, second only to Jerry Rice. Not in the Hall of Fame. Disgrace. Put B-Mitch in. We can get back to the big man if you like Big T.
I mean, I was taking notes at 3 a.m. I have, and you and I think you and I had things that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
unload the clip, dog.
So I'll do some of my smaller points first because I think PFT and I, the overarching point, I think we're gonna agree on. I did find myself wondering last night, if it really was over when he got shot and we just pretended it wasn't for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that happened, we were like, well, this is done. Granted, at the time he was running against Biden, who was polling horribly. But we were like, well, he's going to destroy him. And then it didn't look like that, but then that ended up happening.
I don't think that there was anybody that the Democrats could have run that would have beaten Trump, because it would either be Joe Biden, who was clearly compromised in front of America, and everyone saw him in that debate, and he wasn't going to get those votes, or somebody that the DNC felt comfortable enough just like swapping him out with at the last minute, and they didn't really have a big stable of people. I think that at the point, I would say like 2022 is when this election was probably actually decided, because that's the last point when Biden could have been primaried or could have said, I'm not running for a second term. Let's open it up. At that point, the Democrats could have won. And it cemented it when he survived the assassination attempt. Yeah, I don't think that it was going to shake out either way. I don't think that Democrats would have won no matter who was running at that point.
But I think even Trump's internal pie in the sky scenario couldn't have been this.
Yeah, I think it could have been, because he probably will surpass his votes from maybe he won't. But where he's at right now, he's not up to the 2020 vote level. It's not like there was like a huge surge of voter turnout on the right.
But he's going to win every swing state.
Yeah, but again, I think that probably has a lot to do with the Democrats not having a good candidate that ran against him.
So I thought that for a long time. And Trump is still a flawed candidate, to be sure. But at this point, like, there is something he taps into.
Yeah.
That just nobody else can do. And for his many faults, like, he gets people going.
I agree with you. You're not going to find an argument.
I don't know that.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is, Big T? What does he tap into?
I think in 2016 he was saying stuff that nobody else was saying. We're getting killed on trade. Immigration is very bad, and people are unwilling to admit it. The border's a disaster, and I think that got people like, oh, and I'm going to drain the swamp. This, that, and the other, and that. So then he becomes president, goes away for a while, and this time I think. Like, I guess it's still some of that, but I think it's just, we talked about it earlier, his demeanor. Like, I think he has something that he has a factor that nobody else has. And I would have said, like, because the only candidate we'd seen him beat was Hillary Clinton, who is, I mean, you want to talk about a flawed candidate. And granted, he beat another flawed one this time, but you become president twice, you've got something about you.
I think he also, he's very good at making fun of people that you don't like. So when he captured the Republican nomination, he was just like, it was a roast every single time he was on the stage. Yeah. And none of those other guys on the stage were particularly popular. Like Jeb Bush was supposed to be the anointed one. Jeb didn't really have a grassroots movement behind him.
Probably a good thing that we avoided letting Jeb get too far.
Probably. And so Trump gets on stage and he proceeds to just roast all these stiff robots up there that nobody really had any support for. And then people are like, I like that guy because he's making fun of all these other people that I also don't like. Like Ted Cruz, yeah, he wins re-election in Texas, but Ted Cruz is a wildly unpopular human being. And when Trump was on that stage, just like insulting him to his face and then calling like his wife ugly, like that, people like that about Donald Trump. Then Trump gets to the general and he's making fun of Hillary Clinton, who is also wildly despised by everybody on the right and has been since like 1992. They were like, he is really good at owning the libs. And he has just gotten better at owning the libs.
I think there's certainly truth to that, but I think it's more. Like we'll I don't think we'll ever see another candidate like him.
I don't think
history.
I don't think that there's anybody like him.
Right.
Like if you were to take his sons, you think Eric Trump would garner like a tenth of support? Don Jr.? No, absolutely not.
No, like they don't have a scintilla of what he's got.
They would try. I mean, Ron DeSantis tried to do the Donald Trump thing. He like copied his mannerisms, modeled everything after him, and got absolutely destroyed by the real thing.
Failed miserably.
Yeah. So I don't think that there is anybody like him out there. So
yeah. So
I do think though, Big T, that you're right that post-assassination attempt, I don't think that there was a way that he was going to lose.
Right.
The only way that he was going to lose.
But then we pretended there was. Like,
the only way that he could conceivably lose, I think, and we go back to like talking about issues that impact you directly and give people a reason to vote for you besides the fact that they're not Donald Trump. The only thing I think that he had going against him was abortion and the possibility that women would go out in huge numbers and vote against him like 2-1 because of that one issue that impacted them directly. And that didn't happen. But that was really the only issue that Democrats had a chance of running on. It was like that against everything else that Trump was doing. And yeah, especially post-assassination attempt, I don't think that there was a likely probability that he was going to lose.
So the main thing I wanted to say, and I think you will agree with this, we touched on it briefly, but I would like to plead with the Democratic Party and the left as a whole.
Oh, is this Big T reaching out an olive branch?
It depends.
Okay.
So I am happy. I'm relieved Trump won. He is who I wanted to win. But more than that, like more than I wanted Trump to win, and him winning is going to hurt this goal. I want the left to, I want the Democratic Party to be in a healthy place. I want it to be in a spot where, like, if the candidate the Democrats run, I probably don't want them to win. But if they win, everything will be fine. But more than even the establishment, the electorate, like, if your takeaway from last night is that a majority of the United States is a Nazi, racist, xenophobic, this, that, and the other, like, we have to stop that. And I can't, I would love more than anything, more than I wanted Trump to win, for the left to be in a spot where a serious party would look at itself after Trump winning a second term and say, what in the fuck have we done to allow that to happen? I'm skeptical that reckoning will occur, but I pray it does, because I would love to get us back to a spot where it's two normal politicians running against one another with an electorate that, while split, can get over it. And I don't know that Trump winning helps that, but I hope it pushes it so far the other direction that there's no choice.
Okay. I think that's ultimately we all want good things to happen to this country.
That's wild to me, though. That's wild. Like, it's a modest.
Big T just little bro'd the country.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
I know you're not. It reminded me of CJ Stroud going up to Caleb Williams and being like, "Yo,
no,
hey,
you're
going to be a great player in this league one day."
No, I promise. Like, I just can't stand. The Democratic Party at large told millions of Americans, "You're trash. You're racist. Everything you stand for is wrong. You shut up. We'll handle it." And those people said, "Fuck you." So I am hoping we get to a point where maybe some of the condescension goes away and you take the concerns of those people seriously, to the point that if y'all hate Trump so much, you should want to put the country in a place where you don't have candidates like Trump. What is your response?
Because you're asking something of somebody else that you do not hold the candidate you are saying that from in the same, you don't hold them to the same standard. So ask that of Donald Trump.
I'm not asking
if your assertion, huh?
I am asking the Democratic electorate more so than, but the party too, like the party elites who. If
your assertion is, and this is why I say, like, why I don't believe the fabric of this nation will ever be healed ever again. I think this is going to go on for the rest of my life, at least. This is why. Because if your assertion is that it was not Donald Trump that blew up the, I guess, decorum of political debate in this country, then we just don't occupy the same reality. And that's okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay, well,
But-
so if you do agree with that, then it was Donald Trump.
He's played a part in it.
Okay, see that
Certainly.
we just don't live it. We don't live in the same reality. If we don't agree on that axiom, of reality of it, he blew that up with it, because the same shit that you say he has something about him, I would argue that something about him is what America likes. They like that shit. It's low hanging fruit. It's very low. It's not substantive, right? It's very just fuck that guy and whatever, right? It's very schoolyard pejorative shit, right? That's what America likes. And if your argument is,
I agree with you.
Right. So, my argument is Donald Trump started that decorum in politics. I'm not saying nobody has ever said anything disrespectful in political history. That's not what I'm saying. But for the most part, it was very docile. And the slightest bit of discontent in a negative way could get your candidacy revoked by the people, because like we don't need that, right? But Donald Trump came in and blew that whole shit up, and the left's response was, well, we're gonna blow the shit up right back. And now you just have this never ending, it's a snake eating itself. And so that's why it's a wild sentiment of you to be like, I just want to reach across the aisle and say, can y'all stop with calling us racist? Like it's just a wild.
No, listen. If the Democrats want to keep losing, then keep doing that. Keep being patronizing and arrogant and we know better than you, holier than thou. You're a racist. You're trash. We want nothing to do with you. And those voters that traditionally have gone to Democrats will keep voting for people like Trump, and Republicans will continue winning. I'd be,
I don't think that's why the left lost, though. I think we just disagree. Like I think.
Why do you think they lost?
Because strategically, Joe Biden would not step down, and they didn't give the left anything to fight for, and they got handed Kamala, right? And I think there is a little bit of a shift to moderacy. I do. I think there's a little bit of shift to moderacy.
I think that the Democrats gave us Kamala and then lectured to people about like Kamala's great. You always wanted Kamala. Like that's they did a terrible job with that. Like whoever's in charge of the Democratic Party, the DNC, absolutely terrible at their jobs.
You think there was a shift to the middle in the electorate or in the Democratic Party?
I think, and like I said, a lot of this is spitballing because a lot of the data has to be bored out, right? A lot of the what is it called? The after election poll, the exit polling data, like all that stuff, like to really sit with that, digest it, understand where people are at. And so this is just what I feel in the moment, right? So I mean, my opinion can change given certain information, but how I see it is, I don't think it was a branding problem from the left as far as you keep calling everybody racist, and that's why you lost the moderates. I don't think that was it. I think it was they ran a candidate that nobody elected. I mean, Kamala was one of the first to drop out in the first Democratic primary in 2020. She was one of the first ones to drop out.
So then what about 16?
What about 16?
They ran a candidate
she won a popular vote.
Okay, but he still won, and
that's
the people that won him the election were the same blue collar, regular Americans in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan that did it this time, and that it's the same issues.
But again, she won the popular vote, right? And so, what Donald Trump did in 2016 was, to me, and again, like I know fans of this podcast, right-leaning Barstool fans of this podcast hate when I talk about race, but race is important here. We just had a black president for 8 years, right? A lot of I don't know. I know you don't feel like this is a thing. A lot of people don't like that. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't like.
I mean, they voted for him.
Them. Huh?
They voted for him.
A lot of people did not, Big T.
Sure. A lot of people vote and don't vote for every candidate.
Sure. I'm not saying race is the quintessential variable in American politics, but it is a factor. It is a variable that they take an account for when they do jury selections. They take race into account on any trial, custody battles, murder, theft. Ask a lawyer. They take race into account when they take jury selections. When they do polling data, when they sit in their war rooms, Trump, they take race into account. It matters. And so I feel like the social zeitgeist of America is, there's this like undercurrent of like nobody wants to talk about it, but it comes out in every facet of life. It comes out in every facet. So what I'm saying is to say, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is, like I said, there's no smoking gun to call him racist. I've said that before on this podcast. There's no smoking gun. There's things that I feel like is factors that lead people to believe that. And that riled up the base. And I feel like in 2020, along with all the rest of the stuff, along with COVID, there's all these different like factors. But to your point, I just feel like in order for diplomacy to come back, quote unquote, to American politics, I feel like if the right is serious about, like you said, like let's talk to the Democratic Party. If y'all was serious about that, you would hold to account a man that has blew it up.
I don't. Let me ask you this, Big T. So if you were to use the same thing that you're saying about the change that Democrats need to make right now to win national elections, rewind to 2012 to 2016. What change did Republicans make to win an election, whereas Mitt Romney could not win an election? Did they have a reckoning, and did they say?
But Mitt Romney losing a re-election bid to Obama was not. I think it's impossible to argue that the results Trump put up is not a damning indictment on the current state of the left. People hate it.
Agreed that
hate it.
I agree.
They're
100%.
sick of being called racist and trash, and that you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You're uneducated. You're bad, and the patronization. People can't stand it. So that's different than, I don't know what the numbers were in 2012, but like Romney Obama. I would love if you could give me a virtual Romney Obama-esque election every time. I'd take that.
Yeah. And
let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that Republicans didn't, when they looked at themselves in 2016.
That's not the same thing. You know that.
I mean, it's the same principle about, like, if you lose an election, what do you do?
Every time you lose an election is not a come to Jesus moment. I think this is.
Okay.
I don't disagree.
I agree with that fundamentally, and I think that the bigger factor of it is who you have at the top of the ticket makes a big difference. And Kamala was not an inspiring candidate. That's very clear. The numbers were down across the board for her. Like you said, she didn't gain any counties in Democratic votes. She lost a shitload of Democratic voters. And I'm not saying that she lost Democratic voters in droves that flipped over to voting for a Republican. There's certainly some like incidents of that, but she lost any sort of voter enthusiasm compared to what the party had in 2020. And it's because she's a bad candidate and because she did not spend her time talking about things. She didn't have a real plan that she had in place. She had like a website that she put up, but she didn't have an inspiring message that resonated with people like Obama had, and to a certain extent with voters in key states like Joe Biden had.
You are correct that she was a deeply flawed candidate. However, the Senate is going very much in favor of Republicans. Looks like the House is going to as well.
But
this was not just Kamala.
That would also have to do with who shows up to vote because of the top of the ticket.
That I mean, you can say that about, who turns out to vote matters, yes.
Yeah.
But this was not Kamala lost narrowly and the Senate remained blue and the House. Like,
yeah.
It's a red wave, to borrow the term.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are fed up.
Yeah, you look at a candidate like Brown from Ohio. I think most Republicans even say like Brown is a good moderate senator, that he's a Democrat, but he cares about like the Republicans in his district. He was very popular for a very long period of time, and he lost because they didn't have Democratic turnout.
Yeah, I mean, there's several reasons for that. I don't think there are people. I don't think that the exclusive reason Democrats are probably going to lose all 3 executive and the 2 legislative branches are because it was all Kamala.
Let me ask you a question, Big T. So when this is just an example, right? This is an example. I'm genuinely curious about this, right? When that whole like dogs and cats meme was going around, right? And they targeted a specific community in Ohio, Haitians, and they were saying Haitians are eating your pets, right? Without evidence, right? When we look at the I don't like to throw around the term racism, but when we look at the definition of racism, right, just Webster's, right, it is that you're you think that somebody is it's like an inferiority complex because of a race, right? So obviously you think eating pets is inferior to our race, not you. I'm just thinking in general. Like I think people feel like that. And so if you typecast a community without evidence, without solid evidence, and as a patron standing by just watching it, I would call that racist, right? I would say that was racist, right? But you probably wouldn't. And so when you say people are tired of getting called racist, but they do stuff like that every now and then, what would you call it? Like, how are we supposed to address a situation like that to condemn the condemnation of people who are getting accused of eating pets? Like,
I think there are obviously incidents that you can say, one way or the other, whatever you want to make of it. But there is an unquestioned overarching attitude on the left of people on the right are stupid and they can't think for themselves and they're trash and all that stuff. Not take away just the word racist because it's a lot more words than that.
Okay, so okay.
But I think it's inarguable.
All right, so if we go down that same line, all right, all right. Like let's do the masking thing for example, right? And we're getting into the weeds of like why I feel like there's a big divide in this country, right? Like to this day, if I was to ask you do masks work, you would still say no, masks don't work, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence for that.
Yeah, and I would totally disagree that even that study that me and you had that big argument about, right? It demonstrably showed that masks work, right? It demonstrably showed that. Like I've read every single part of that study. And even in the biggest data set, I think it was in Bangkok. There was like 300,000 subjects that they tested that they said the mask didn't work, but it's because how people were wearing them. And so they cut, it was a big conglomeration of all of these, whatever. I don't want to get into the mask debate, but so like people interpret data like that. I read the entire thing. People have come out and said the exact same thing. And then people on the other side come out and said the exact opposite thing, right? And so when somebody that is, let's say I'm a virologist, okay? I am not, but let's say I'm a virologist and I've spent my life studying this. And the overwhelming majority of virologists agree with this, but there's a small subset of virologists that don't, and then a swath of people that believe the small subset of virologists, right? It does lead people to conclude that you're uneducated about a subject. So how do you address, and this is a genuine question, how do you address a people that you feel is genuinely uneducated about a subject? Like, what do you say? Because you said we're tired
the specific example you're using, I would say you're just straight up wrong. Gotcha. But let's say there's something where empirically, provably, demonstrably,
there's no such thing anymore. That's literally my point.
But take it. Just take what I'm saying. Say that where you're right and the person you're talking to is wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the way the left talks to people is the correct way to handle it.
I agree. You don't feel like that, but this wasn't like a rhetorical.
But what you're talking about is like you take a specific issue. You're talking to somebody who you look at data, interpret it. I think that's not what is happening largely in political discourse.
Well, no, I don't disagree with you.
Offhandedly, the people I don't like are Nazis. And
see, you can't have it both ways. And so because the reason why I asked you these two specific examples was to address your direct point. Your direct point is people are tired of getting called racist. People are tired of getting called uneducated. Those are I just took two of your examples, and I gave an example as to why somebody on the opposite side of the aisle would say that, right? And it was a genuine question. This wasn't like a gotcha. I wasn't trying to get you. I was genuinely curious as to if you put yourself in their shoes and you're saying, okay, let's take another example. Climate, like over 98% of the climate scientists say we are affecting CO2 levels as human beings. And the swath of people that interpret that data say this minority doesn't think that it's happening. How, as somebody who interprets that data, how are they supposed to address somebody that they feel is not acknowledging?
Okay,
this,
I think
what you would say is empirical.
I think I can answer your question now, because I think we're saying two different things. Listen,
okay.
I am saying clearly that what the messaging that they have ain't working. So if they want to keep doing that, like, I guess more power to you. Maybe things will figure themselves out. I think it would behoove everyone to maybe modify that a little bit. But if maybe not, I don't know. I am saying I think it's clear as day that does not work. And I think it's bad for everyone. I think it makes the country less trustworthy of each other. I think it makes people dislike each other more. I think it's bad all the way around, and to boot, it's bad for Democrats. So,
gotcha. I'm not disagreeing with you that it is the best course of action, right? What I was trying to illustrate is that, I think it's irreparable damage that's cast upon our society, and it's like I said, I don't think it's gonna go away in our lifetimes. I don't think there is no more diplomacy. I think the lines have been drawn. And I think people are going to talk to each other, at least until I die. I mean, I can hope for better, but I just don't have much faith in humanity, right? And so, I mean, I try, like, me and you we don't agree on pretty much anything politically, but I try my very best. We may have an argument here and there, but I try my best, and I feel like you would say, I treat you with respect. I don't like shit on you, other than like a joke or two here, right? Would you agree with that, or would you not agree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Beautiful, because I try to treat people that way. My thing is, in leadership positions, it should be exacerbated, right? We should show the utmost respect, and we don't have that from the top down on either aisle. So to my original point is, you reaching across the aisle to the Democrats saying, can we just change and like I was about to make the point, is like, by your logic, yeah, it's not working, but the aisle that you feel is best way to move through the country, the future of the country, which is the Republicans, it is working for them. And so what does that say about us?
I don't know. And I agree with you. I don't love everything Trump says. He says a lot of dumb shit. However, having years now to go on, I know that for the most part, when he says something stupid, nothing comes of it. He says, "Oh, we're gonna bomb the hurricane." Okay, like, whatever. You're not, so it doesn't matter. Oh, this, that, and the other. Most of what he says does not come to pass. He's shooting off the hip because he's a kind of a lunatic. However, I think much more so than Donald Trump. And again, yes, he says crazy shit. Agree with you 100%. When people on the left are saying things, I think they mean them and they act on them far more than he does.
Yeah. And I think that's the divide, is people on the other side, I feel the exact same about that side. And that's why I feel like it's never going, that's why I just try to, like, I've made my peace with the fact, like, I always bring up abortion, because I feel like that's a genuinely a real topic that I can understand your position on it, and I don't necessarily disagree, right? Like, and I don't think that you're evil, and I don't think you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, for the most part, control women, right? Like, I genuinely feel like people can have that position without malintent, and I've made my peace with politics, and I think this is just age, right? Like, I think you get a lot of revolutionaries young, but I think as you just age, you just make your peace with your world that you're that you occupy. And I don't know, man. I just don't have a lot of hope for humanity in general. But I always try to I try to make my world a peaceful world. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got nothing left.
Gotcha.
Just gonna golf and I don't know. Try to fix my world, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So Donald Trump does, to Big T's point, sometimes he just does like to say shit, right? So I guess we're gonna.
He says a lot of stupid shit, and then nothing comes of it.
We're gonna find out if Project 2025 was real or not real. We're gonna find out if RFK Jr. is actually gonna be in charge of government departments. Oh, by the way, on that front, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he talked about like taking the fluoride out of the water, right? Mm-hmm. And as somebody that's done a little bit of research into fluoride for this podcast, and we came to the conclusion that based on the actual stuff that's out there right now, we probably get enough environmental fluoride where we don't need to have it in our water anymore in most places. But then when they talked about fluoride, everybody was like, this is insane that RFK Jr. is saying take the fluoride out. It's a conspiracy. That might not be the worst thing. Like you saw a lot of people freaking out about it, which I think a lot of people's instinct is to freak out about whatever Trump or the Trump administration says based on what we've seen. And again, we asked people to send in, like, if you've seen anything else, send it our way. That might be one example of something that might not be necessarily the worst thing based on the actual science. Now, the other, I was talking to Big T before the show started about the one thing that does piss me off about like the RFK Jr. stuff is when he's talking about like being healthy and making Americans eat healthy and less processed food and shit like that. I was like, I remember back in 2008 when they put Michelle Obama in charge of, like, she was in charge of a big health initiative for the country. Like, we're obese. We need to cut down on processed foods and chemicals. And Republicans freaked out and they were like, this is tyranny that she's trying to take away our French fries. And that's essentially exactly what RFK Jr. is going to try to do. Be like, we need to be more healthy. And some of the same people are like, yep, that's right. We're making America healthy again. So at least just have some consistency.
Well, he is a Democrat.
On that front. I don't know what RFK Jr. is.
He's a lifelong Democrat.
I guess he's like
from the most famous Democratic family to ever exist.
Yeah, he's always been like a black sheep of that family.
That's the other thing is, and we don't have to get into this a ton, Trump's cabinet is going to be a ton of lifelong Democrats.
We'll see.
Like, Tulsi Gabbard's been a Republican for 15 minutes.
You think she's going to be on the cabinet?
It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, we'll see who he nominates. I don't know.
I think that speaks to a lot of what I was saying too, but we'll see. I hope the next 4 years the country is really great, and I hope forever it's really great.
Me too, Big T. We'll take a quick break for DraftKings because it's NBA season. The NBA is finally back. All the stars are out to play. Arian's favorite player, Bronny James, in the league making waves. We've got Bub Carrington from the Wizards. All the stars, Bronny and Bub. What a time it is to be an NBA fan. Now, we've got a very interesting NBA season. Even if Joel Embiid isn't playing just yet, the NBA is back, and the NBA season's off to a great start. I've been really enjoying the game so far. A lot of surprises. My prediction, this might be the Thunder's year. I think the Thunder might do it. But if you're looking to make the games a little bit more interesting, go to DraftKings, and you can figure out who's draining threes from behind the arc, who's crashing the boards, who's grabbing rebounds. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets that you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. Ready to place your first bet? Well, try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place your bet. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code MACRO. That's code MACRO for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. You guys want to talk about some other election night stuff throughout history? Some weird shit that's happened?
Let's do it.
If you think that the country is divided right now, I would venture to say that it was probably more divided during the Vietnam War. I don't know. I wasn't alive for it, but that's the general sense that I get. more unrest. And the Nixon administration was like wildly hated by at least the youth vote, because they were like, please don't draft me and send me to go fight in Vietnam, which is a war that none of us care about. They tried, the Democrat side and some of the people that were anti-Nixon tried to get John Lennon, much like Kamala tried to get Queen Latifah to endorse her. And John Lennon was doing he was going to concerts and showing up and singing "Give Peace a Chance," and all the kids were going nuts for him. They're like, "We love John Lennon." The Beatles were already broken up by this time. They hadn't played a concert in 7 years, and the McGovern campaign tried to get him to do a series of live shows, like concerts all across America, to get youth people, or the youth vote, to register and turn up and vote against Nixon. And Nixon pulled a very savvy political move and said, let's just take away his visa, because he got arrested for possessing weed when he was in London like 9 years ago. So they started the motions to take away his visa and to deport him. And then John Lennon was like, well, I guess I have to stop being political and stop campaigning, because they're going to just kick me out of the country. And so it worked. They stopped the series of concerts that were going to be planned. And then Lennon freaked out on election night when his side lost and was just like, pretty much, fuck everything. I'm a nihilist now from this point on. And he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything political. Me and Yoko are just going to continue to fight, and our relationship's going to come to an end. And it was like a seminal moment for John Lennon to just decide that he was done with politics. He's like, we're done. Me and Yoko are done too. I'm going to move to LA, and I'm just going to go on a fucking bender. And that election pretty much turned John Lennon for the rest of his life.
Love that.
So politicians, yeah. Politics and music, not always. People always think like musicians and the celebrity vote will turn people out. That's not always the case. I think there's like 4 celebrities that could make a difference in your vote.
I think they just needed one more Avenger.
You think so? Who were the Dems missing?
Who didn't they get? I mean, they got everybody. I believe
they didn't. Did they get Chris Evans? Oh wait, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
I'm sure.
Ja Rule.
He's big time outspoken.
Yeah.
What did Ja Rule have to say about this election?
I tweeted him the day of. I said, "What's up, fam? What you feeling?"
Did he get back to you?
No. I anytime like something big happens, I always tweet Ja Rule. Like, "What up, dog? What you feeling?"
I actually hadn't seen until today the Cardi B speech.
Yeah.
Reading off her phone.
Yeah, Cardi B.
I had not seen that until today.
Yeah. Do celebrities make a difference at all?
I
don't.
No.
Seems not.
Maybe to like register and vote, like shit like that. But like as far as like swaying,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, cause I'll look at like Republican celebrities, be like, yo, shut the fuck up. I look at Democrat celebrities, be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like they don't move me. I've never met anybody that's been like, hey, yo, dog, Beyonce told me to vote Kamala. Like I'm in.
I do think
I've never met anybody like that.
Voter registration, yes.
Yeah.
Voter turnout and Democratic turnout, I think demonstrably no, based off last night.
For example, if Taylor Swift, if she has a massive vote registry drive at every concert that she does, that will get more younger people in theory to participate in the process, right?
Yeah.
Like who would sway more votes, Taylor Swift or Hulk Hogan? I think probably Taylor Swift would sway more votes, but there's only like a handful of people I think that could have that impact.
Right, like Sabrina Carpenter,
Olivia
Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter, and Billie Eilish, who are like 3 of the biggest, basically under Taylor Swift, the 3 biggest girls in pop right now. All 3 of them at their tour stops had head count there, which is like a voter registration organization, and the numbers came out for Sabrina Carpenter that she posted in, I believe, just an Instagram story on like Sunday, and 27,000 people registered to vote from that.
Yeah.
So like they get voter registration, and again from there it's,
You know who I think has more influence than like celebrity as like musicians or athletes are like the streamers. Like those new age, like young cat streamers. Because I think, if I'm not correct, you can fact check me on this. Do we have a larger young vote turnout than anybody?
I don't think we know yet.
Oh, look.
I mean,
I could be wrong about that.
last night, Dana White in Trump's acceptance speech thanked Aiden Ross, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, them cats. Yeah.
Bussin' with
I
the
will, I will
boys.
say
The
that.
boys.
The boys, the Nelk boys.
The Nelk boys, like all of them.
I
So,
get-
yeah.
I want to wait to see what the numbers are because
Yeah, sure.
there've been so many things that were supposed to impact the youth vote going back years and decades, and it's kind of like political wisdom at this point that the youth just don't turn out to vote. Like some do, and good for you if you're voting, and if you're like a younger person that just like turned 18, 19, first election, that's cool. But like percentage wise, it's much more skewed towards the older demographics that show up to vote. Because like kids, you say you want to vote, and then you wait till the last minute to figure out a plan, and then you're like, oh, I don't know where to go vote. Something else is happening. It's okay. My state doesn't matter. That's kind of the flow chart on what that's been like. Maybe it's different though. Who knows?
Yeah,
I think it's
I
definitely
could be
gotten
wrong
better.
about that.
I think it's
The I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I think it's a mix. Like I know some young people who are like super read up on voting and who's on their ballot, and I think that's how it should be. And then I think there's just as many in the opposite that are like, I have no idea what to do or how to vote. Like someone asked me yesterday like where I voted, and I was like, it doesn't matter where I voted. My polling place is not your polling place. Like they did not know that.
My fault. I was just say that there's like a few bipartisan things we should be able to agree on here, Big T. Reach across the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Make election day a holiday. Shut everything down.
Yeah. Deal.
Beautiful.
What do
All
you
right.
think about only voting on election day? One day, paper ballot, show your ID.
No, I hate that because you got people like traveling and you got a lot of moving parts in the economy. That'd be
Make it a
lot.
holiday.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like people travel all the time. There's different.
Make it a
family
Monday
circumstances.
holiday. You have the weekend before.
All right, I'll meet you there if you make available some kind of barring longer than like an hour wait time.
I mean, how would you do that?
More polling stations.
All right,
in more dense populated areas.
Sure, that sounds great. I don't know why that wouldn't already be a thing.
Well, you'd have to ask your gerrymandering constituents that. How about this one too? People like giving water in line if it's hot outside, if it's
Paul Rudd.
on a snack or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's illegal in a lot of places.
It's legal in a lot of places too.
Well, I wouldn't be talking about those places.
I think
That's where you draw the line?
no.
Hydration?
I think it is fine, but there is a reason that exists. Like you can't have people from a campaign doing that.
I agree. Any campaign, merch, signs, I mean, like, you know, say, awareness, get it out of there.
Already illegal.
That's what I'm saying. I'm with you.
What
What about
Election
Trump
in-
wearing his MAGA hat?
What about like Australia does mandatory voting?
Well, that's
Not down
tough
with
because
that.
then you're taking away freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't
Incentivize
even think
voting?
that's possible in this country.
Probably not in this country. Yeah.
I feel like one day, and this is I think we're too close to the I don't want the government to have too much of my information shit, but like voting, like these voting machines, like there's got to be a way to digitize it in a way to modernize and keep up with the era that we're in. These actual paper ballot, like I'm over that shit. Like,
No. We want paper.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, I don't think we'll have to just stay paper because I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good.
Why?
Every other facet of your life is digitized. Banking.
Right, but surely you see
Anything.
then why not just vote on your phone?
I'm with that.
Oh, no, you're not.
I'm with that.
Come on.
I'm with that.
It would be
There'd have to be like a litany of different circumstances or bars that you would have to to ensure stuff like here's something that I'm not necessarily for on the left side is voter ID. I don't really understand that argument. I mean, I do on its face, but I feel like you should be able to get an ID. I do.
I think their argument is that it adds an additional step in, and it costs money to get an ID. So if you make voting cost money, then that is against the intent of democracy.
Well, I think it's your civic duty, and like I said, I stray from the left in this area. Is it's your civic duty? If it's important to you and it's important to then we find a way to make it happen. Like, how much does it cost to get an ID? Can we? I don't even know that.
I think different states are
$20 in Illinois. Hey, I'll do you on this.
Free IDs?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm with that.
If you got to use it to vote, then keep the $20.
Yeah, free IDs. Yeah,
free IDs with voter with having ID. I'm okay with that. I don't mind that at all.
I walked in there yesterday and just
Are we
voted.
fixing America, Big T?
Listen, I think that I don't understand how. I think it should be like pretty universal. I understand why some people want mail-in and mail-ins, but absentee ballots and things, and there could be a couple of exceptions. But for the most part, vote on Election Day, make it a holiday, Monday after a weekend, so you have plenty of time. Vote on a paper ballot, show your ID. I don't understand what's so controversial about that.
Yeah, I think if you meet me halfway with the long lines, more polling stations.
Yeah, I think there should be as many polling places as there can be.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good for America. Nature is healing.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Any other changes?
You said you had a couple.
Oh, yeah. The other one was we take away celebrity from like the old Steve Jobs early Apple days. Like when you look at their marketing, he was adamant about no celebrity endorsements. Our product is going to sell itself. I think it takes a lot of the lore out of politics and you think about like, you ever been in maybe not Big T, but you ever been in a top 5, what's your top 5 rapper debate with anybody?
Maybe not rappers, but sports, certainly.
On this show.
Okay, yeah. Running backs, quarterbacks, it gets heated, right? It's like... It
can.
It gets heated. So when your top favorite celebrity goes and votes opposite of the ticket that you believe in, it makes you feel a certain way. It gets you even more riled up, gets angry, all this shit. Take all that shit out. No candidacy, no campaign should have any celebrity, nothing. I want to make it bland, dry, and policy-based, dog. I don't need all the bells and whistles. We are a consumer high nation to begin with. Like, we don't need more dopamine for political conversations. It should be bland. It should be very monotone, and it should be done in a diplomatic way to where it's not, you're not trying to rile people up. You're just trying to educate them and inform them. And
I don't think you or I would want to know the number of people in America who are very heavily influenced by celebrities when it comes to voting. I know I don't want to.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty high.
Give me a number. You're good at guessing these numbers, right?
All right. So how many voters did we have in this election? Like 170 or something?
100. I was like 100.
Or 150?
Yeah.
I mean, 150 million. I'd say I would bet there are 20 million people that were fully or heavily influenced by a celebrity to vote for someone.
I think it's celebrities set the culture of America to a certain extent because it's pop culture. It's what people are talking about, and they identify with certain people, and they're like, oh, all these people that I like, I consume their art, I pay attention to them in the media, they're all going one way. I already identify with that person. They're speaking to me in a way that like I can relate to. Yeah, that sounds like who I am. So maybe that has something to do with it. But
like if you love Taylor Swift and you're a Democrat and you happen to agree with her, like great, that's awesome, and you can throw a party. But if you're like, I don't know, like I'm not voting, and then Taylor Swift says you should go vote for Kamala Harris, and you go do that, like I think that's kind of insane.
It's a little crazy, yeah. But
I agree.
That's
So that would be that, because I could think we have to find a way, to your earlier point, Big T, like when you like stop calling people racist and ignorant, whatever. Yeah, let's tone down the rhetoric on every part of the aisle, and we have to find a way to kind of like dull the light a little bit. And I think celebrity worship is already a problem in this country, so let's just take it out. Have it like, the Johnson Amendment, where like if a church endorses a candidate, I think they lose their tax exempt status, theoretically. Anyway, you have the opposite of that. If a campaign has a celebrity endorsement, there has to be some kind of penalty. That would be fire.
For rhetoric, how about people on the left stop calling all Trump voters Nazis? People on the right stop calling all Kamala supporters and voters like adrenochrome addicted like pedophiles. Yeah,
I'll make that trade.
Okay.
I'm speaking for my side. We will make that trade.
Okay, all right. I'll talk to some people at the DNC. This is like nuclear disarmament between Russia and the United States. Like, we're going to supervise it, and we're going to watch you dismantle X number of missiles that you have currently pointed towards Moscow, and then we're going to disable these rockets that we have pointed at like Fort Lauderdale. This is kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I got another one. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this train rolling. All right, Big T. We stop being world police.
Brother, yes.
Hey, man.
When's the last time somebody sent us a check?
I'm with you, brother.
You're preaching to the choir. I am.
I'm trying to find ways to mend this bridge. It's been a long time since I've been on the other side.
Yeah. No, I'm 100%. I'm sick of everything that we're involved in currently.
I'm so with this.
Let's arrest criminals who commit crimes, and let's also put like independent prosecutors in charge of prosecuting any police malfeasance that aren't related to like the district attorneys and the people
I don't
that
know
are
if he's gonna go
investigating.
there. I'm with you, Big T.
I'm just, what does that mean?
So
the people who prosecute crime are that's who does it.
So like, hey, yo, if we was in a trade right now, PFT, I'd be like, hey man, calm down. We've got a lot right now. Hold on.
I'm genuinely curious
because,
in what he's saying, because like
here's where I think
the people who prosecute crime are the lawyers who work for the government. So
here's where I think the libs went wrong in the wake of the George Floyd killing. I think they allowed defund the police to be a slogan that caught on when it's a like ridiculously hard slogan to parse, and when people say that and they hear it, they think like eliminate police departments. I think the people that started that movement were more about like take some of the money away from police, because there is like a huge budget that goes to cops that's for like training and all sorts of stuff that wasn't working at that time. But it's terrible slogan, terrible marketing, horrible branding. And I think one of the biggest things that they could have done that most people would agree with is when a cop is accused of doing something wrong, the people that are in charge of investigating them and prosecuting them, if it gets to that point, are the same people that have to work with the police departments on actual like civilian crime. So it's the same prosecutor that would be potentially prosecuting a cop that would be the same prosecutor that is talking to the police about getting evidence, working with them about prosecuting other criminals. There's a professional relationship right there and a personal relationship that is a big conflict of interest. So you have somebody that is in charge of investigations against police officers for complaints about like excessive force, brutality, just corrupt cops. Somebody that is not affiliated and doesn't work with the police departments on a day-to-day basis. That's what I think would have been a good measure.
Just who is that?
I don't know. It's just
you get a DA from like somewhere else,
possibly.
Like that's fine.
Yeah. So you look at this, Arian. Because I think that people on the right would agree with people on the left, in that the cops that are bad and do bad things deserve to be held accountable.
Yes, nobody wants.
Here's how you sell it to Big T totally. Eric gave you cops. I'm gonna throw in the CIA and the FBI too.
Yep.
Fuck them.
Yep.
All right.
No, yeah, we agree on that too.
All right. All right.
That's in 25.
Independent oversight.
I think since Trump started saying disband the DOJ and the FBI, all that shit, I have like people on the left are like, yeah, bro, fuck them and the CIA, and then we would just say and police, and then that's where I'll be like, wait, hold on, man, we back to blue, and that's where you're like, all right, that's where. But if you give us police,
nobody is in favor of the police doing bad shit. Like I think nobody is in favor. Like I think putting body cameras on all the police is the best thing that's ever happened.
I have been in so many arguments with people who think that's like an overreach, or you're making it hard for
I
them
think
to do their job.
I can't believe it took so long to do that. And then you have incidents like I forget the woman's name who was trying to stab the cop in the face.
Oh, in Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, so he shot and killed her, rightfully.
It can clear people.
And and so now we know that didn't turn into something that it shouldn't have been, because that seems like common sense.
I don't know that specific event, so I won't agree with you, but I do think it will give us more insight as to any kind of discrepancy on the sides. And so like accountability is all we want.
Agreed. Nobody is in favor of the police doing bad shit. Like
I flipped this dude. I was on a plane to Oregon one time, and there was this dude, and I had a sweater that said, "I always film the police." And this nigga came up to me, he was mad. He was like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" And I was like, "Calm down, bro. Like, it just means to film the police." And he's like, well, "Why would you want to film them?" I was like, "Because I don't want government overreach." And when you branded it to him like that, he was like, "Yeah, well, I don't either." I was like, "Always film the police." He was like, "Well, it just comes off kind of." I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you, man. That's what it is." I think it's good for everybody. He ended up agreeing with me, but he was like super hostile at first.
Yeah, I think most people agree on basic things in the United States. We want to be safe, right? Yeah. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do for the most part, as long as we're not hurting somebody else. And we can come together on that. We don't want America to be like world police. We don't want to get shipped off to needless wars.
Agreed.
I think these are all things that we have in common. We share far more in common than we do like things that drive us apart. That was a very ineloquent way of saying that, but I think you guys understand the sentiment.
It wasn't the most buttery language, but I think it was a great sentiment. I like how you phrased it, brother.
Yeah,
be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, it's just we are driven against each other by giant branding machines that paint the other side as being demons.
Yeah.
And so we need to fight back against those giant branding machines that exist just to make you mad about the other side. They exist to make you mad because they get money based on how mad they make you.
That's true.
That's how the media works. And I'm talking about all media. I'm talking about cable news. I'm talking about accounts on X.com, the Everything app. It's all happening on X. Mm-hmm. They get paid based on engagement. Exact same thing. Now on X, the rhetoric is way more inflammatory than it's ever been on TV because there's no oversight to that, no guardrails. That's another discussion, is like, how do you draw the line on that? But it's the same thing. Just giant pieces of media that exist to make you hate somebody that you would probably get along with pretty well if it weren't for watching those things all the time.
There's only one place that doesn't do any of that.
What's that?
JNN.
JNN. That's the only spot for it.
We got to find something else to cover. We may need to get on Brandon Johnson's case. I don't know. I don't know what's next for JNN, but we got to find something.
Yeah.
It can't be a one-time thing.
No, but
it was too fun.
But you got to pick and choose.
Right. It can't be ubiquitous either.
No. Special.
Yeah.
Special, but maybe not so rare. Not once every 4 years.
Is a big T during the coverage last night where you're like, I'm fucking nailing this. Did you know that you were nailing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did know. And listen, that was like, that's honestly the most fun I've had doing anything since I've worked here. Like I would always watch election night and be like, that must be so much fun. Yeah. Now, obviously, there was a scenario in which that stream was not as good. So, things had to fall the right way.
I think that would have made it funnier, though.
There certainly would have been moments that were really funny, but I think the stream was made by the
takeaway is, Big T, when you not a Grinch, you're a joy to be around.
Listen, and you know me. How often?
It's me, baby.
How often?
You know me.
How often have we hung out and I not been a perfectly agreeable person?
We get along, dog.
I know. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are times that I'm pissed off or whatever, but like, come have an Angry Orchard with Big T, and I promise
you're a good time.
It's fair.
I promise you won't. It's Big T, baby. Like, come on.
Someone I know was watching it last night, and I was like, "This is Big T." Like when people are like, "It doesn't make sense that like me and Big T would get along." I'm like, "This is Big T, like on a pretty normal, like you're fun."
Yeah,
I agree.
That's what I'm talking about. You
don't get to see that side of Big T all the time.
Yeah, and you
can if you look for it.
And not if you're blocked.
That's true. Well, no, Elon, now you can.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can now.
Yeah, I do share your concerns about Brace's big concerns about Elon. But we've said that since Elon, before he got involved in politics.
Yeah, we was on his bumper for a while.
Weird guy.
Yeah.
And nothing about Elon is going to make it's not going to change.
And I think everyone agrees on. That's the one thing we can all agree on. Elon's a weird guy.
I really want to fact check this. He jumps in the letter X shit.
Oh, no.
No, but now
does.
that he said it,
He does.
I see it.
He does.
And I think he's been doing it on purpose so that somebody would eventually screen grab him and be like, "Oh, look, it's the Everything app."
Where does his obsession with X come from?
He's been obsessed with the letter X.
His son was originally, I think they changed it, but his son was originally that like XAEA12 thing.
He tried to name PayPal X.
Yeah. He's been obsessed with it.
He's been dying to have a business called X for 30 years.
For everybody out there
there's like multiple articles about like his 25-year obsession with the letter X.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything he's done, he's tried to put an X in it.
If you're a resistance lib out there and you're like, well, maybe he'll get sent to prison before he's elected, it is true that he has a sentencing date for, I believe, the New York trial, right? And that's coming up soon. There's 0% chance that a judge is going to be like, the person who won the popular vote is going to prison. No, that's not going to happen.
Is it? So that's a state crime, right?
Yeah.
So he couldn't pardon himself?
He can't pardon
So there
himself.
is still a possibility that they can do that?
It ain't happening.
I mean, obviously not, but...
Yeah,
you want to talk about riots.
I think there's
oh, brother.
I think there are some laws that could be interpreted to say that you can't be sentenced to jail. He would definitely make that argument and probably win. But I guess his sentencing will be suspended while he's president. So he could check out of the White House.
So this would be your dream scenario.
That's right, yeah, because I think every president should go directly to jail when they step foot out of the White House. Everyone, because you've committed many crimes.
So
that's the price that you pay.
Non-zero chance now.
It's the price you pay for serving America. If you love the country so much, then yeah, you would give up the rest of your life in jail, right?
I don't know that those are the people you want either, though.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get some weirdos.
Well, again, the person that I want to be president is somebody that does not want to be president.
I actually asked this. I don't remember if you were in the cave or not. I think you were. I was like, what if we ever coalesced enough people in America and we said, we're going to write in, pick a person, Mad Dog. And you're not 35, I guess. Pick Arian. We're going to write in Arian. And we got...
Oh, I don't want to be president.
And we got 60 million Americans. So that's exactly my point. What if we got enough people to do it and you win, but then you don't want to be president? Can you decline?
Yeah, unless I could be president from my fucking house.
Can you?
But
it's like a little sass meme during draft night.
Yeah, exactly.
Got this little doing the nation address.
I think we should try to do that.
With Rafiki in the background and the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I don't know if you can decline or not. I would say this. I don't want to be president, but if you guys elect, I will humbly serve.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
I would just want to read the secret books and then get out.
Yeah. Oh, we might get that. We might get more details.
That's what like. So he been huffing and puffing about a lot of the shit he was going to release. He said, "What did he say? The JFK files?"
Yeah, but then he said, if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so he reneged on that. Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe the alien files, Epstein list.
Well, you know that's not coming out.
Still
He
waiting
on that shit, ain't he?
He could tell you, but he'd have to kill you.
Still waiting on that one to come out. I'm excited to see what he's got planned for healthcare.
Concepts of a plan, baby.
I think he's going to announce that soon, right?
Man's had 9 years.
9 years. Yeah, he did that throughout his first term. He's like, we're working on it very hard, and it's going to be beautiful.
The one thing, like, I'm going to live out for a second is, like, the one thing I'm like, is if RFK really go crazy on, like, the CDC and the health departments, and he gets rid of vaccine mandates, that's going to be horrible, bro.
I would bet a lot of money that does not happen.
I'm hoping, because like he has floated the idea that vaccines cause autism, and that is like an old debunked trope from Andrew Wakefield, and there's a great book on that. I forget the dude that wrote its name, who investigated that shit years ago, and the study. I don't want to get into all that, but
it was like one European scientist that faked his study.
Yeah, he got disbarred. It was like there was only, I think, if I remember it correctly, it was like 12 subjects, right? And then one of the subjects came out and said, "No, my kid doesn't even have autism." Like it was a sample size of 12, not 12 people that got autism. It was a sample size of 12, and so it was like a bunk study. And like I said, there's been mountain loads of data. Oh, I don't want to get into the vaccine conversation, but there's like demonstrable shit like polio, measles, shit like that has been basically eradicated from our society because of vaccinations. And if he's on that, I gotta say, I don't know exactly what his plans is, but I have heard him speak a little bit about it and saying he's skeptical about vaccinations in general. So that is the one thing I'm like, no, that shit, I'm not excited about that.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, the autism thing, like the study that they keep talking about, is how like more frequent diagnoses have become with autism.
Yeah.
But if you talk to anybody that has actually looked at it, like the definition of the entire spectrum of autism, Asperger's, all that stuff has grown over the years, and we understand more, so we identify children earlier on that spectrum. It's not like you're getting a measles vaccine and you're like, well, I'm autistic now.
That's
speaking of vaccines. One of the funniest.
I thought you were gonna say, speaking of autism.
No, Jerry saying, "I never took the vaccine."
Mm-hmm.
Funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
So I watched like 5 minutes because somebody had tweeted me like, "Yo, you got to tap it." So I tapped it, and I caught when he said that. I did not take the vaccine.
It was so funny.
He said, "Did you, Big T?" He said, "Oh, we don't get into that. You know, we're down the middle. We're right down the middle."
Oh. Also, what I learned is Big T just loves saying
JJ. I was just gonna say that every time Big
That's
T
just
would
what I
end
call
a
him,
sentence with JJ, it would make it 10 times funnier.
It's so funny.
You look, JJ.
JJ.
Yeah.
Listen here.
No, listen.
JJ, we got to stay neutral.
JJ and T was a nice little combo.
I feel like we got to get Jersey Jerry was going to be on today's show. He had to do Barstool Sports Advisor this morning, but we'll get him back in the studio. And
so Tuesday, the
Jerry
official victory show. Today was just.
I would say, do you think Jerry's done right now or no?
I don't know. I'll see if he can do it on Monday. If he can hop in here on Monday for Tuesday's show.
We should get Jerry and Brace on
together.
Have we? I don't know if we have before. They'd be good.
No, I don't think so.
That would be a hilarious mashup.
Okay, we got anything else we want to get into? I think if you're a Trump supporter, this is a good day for you, and enjoy it. If you're a Kamala supporter, gotta do some long, hard look in the mirror, figure out where you went wrong.
If you had to bet on it right now, 2028 election is who versus who?
If I had to bet on it right, I think that there will be a strong new independent party that pops up in the next couple of years.
Oh, wow. Really?
I think so. I think unless the DNC does a complete like gutting of the people at the top and just bring in like an entire fresh crop, this is like about as bad as you can do with an election.
Yeah,
you have an incumbent president. You wait too long to acknowledge the fact you're forced to acknowledge the fact that he's mentally compromised. So then you install your vice president that nobody voted for, and then try to get that person to win an election. That's about as bad as you can get. I would say that is worse than 2016, when the Democrats were supposed to have a big come to Jesus moment. I think that there will be big changes at the top. I think that there should be huge change. There should be a strong new independent party that starts to force the Democrats to try to make a change. We'll see if any of that happens. But if it were like these Democrats against these Republicans, if that's what we're going on for 2028, I think the strongest possibility is probably going to be J.D. Vance, and I would say Mayor Pete. That's what I would put my money on right now.
I would have Mayor Pete as the vice presidential nominee.
Okay.
I would say Gavin Newsom probably has more steam than Mayor Pete, but I don't. Mayor Pete has a certain way. He's echoed Obama's mannerisms very well,
and he's good. He's good on TV. He's an effective communicator. You can disagree on what he's saying, but I think most people on the right would be like, "Yeah, this guy is very good in a debate format."
Yeah, but then he's gay, so like that's still an issue.
Yeah.
Not for me, but like America is very traditional in that sense. Like I think we should have a single president.
Like that would rock.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, single president who was like openly single and openly like I'm down to fuck.
Who we had
presidential
one
date? You know what I mean?
Who was it?
Was that Benjamin Harrison?
Could be
confirmed bachelor
somewhere back there. Yeah,
I think he might have been also. He might have been gay.
People do theorize that now, yeah.
James Buchanan.
That's who it was.
My fault.
Leading some historians and authors to question his sexual orientation.
Is that just because he wasn't married?
I think so.
In his personal life, Buchanan never married and was the only U.S. president to remain a lifelong bachelor, leading some historians and authors to question his sexual orientation.
Did he have a dog?
Or a cat?
That would be the deciding factor.
Lifelong bachelor President James Buchanan, like so many other presidents, had pets with him and gifted to him while he was in the White House. Among those pets were dogs, one being Laura, a Newfoundland, and the other a toy terrier named Punch.
2 dogs.
Punch is a good name.
I like the name Punch.
I like the name Punch a lot.
Yeah.
Also, a toy terrier named Punch, like a little thing.
I gotta Google that. I'm not up on my dog taxonomy.
So you think Gavin Newsom?
I think Newsom and Pete against JD and Vivek.
Okay.
Would be my prediction 4 years out.
Who would be like the most eligible swinging bachelor? That would be the funniest to be president right now.
I mean,
Pete Davidson.
No.
Pete Davidson.
Are we talking about anyone?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Pete Davidson is president. Is banging everything.
Is Elon taken?
Well, he can't be president.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
But
you forget about that. You forget about that.
Yeah.
He cannot be president.
Wah!
Oh, Glenn Powell.
That's the craziest part of that is he just stops and goes,
oh, that was the noise that came out of that man.
Yeah.
Fucking
absurd.
That's funny. Shit, that's what got. Who was that candidate that got his campaign derailed by a simple noise?
Don't say it.
Okay.
It's the Minnesota guy.
Oh, not Minnesota. Vermont.
I forget his name.
No, what he says Minnesota in the thing.
Yeah, that's one of the states that he says. From Vermont.
Give me initials.
HD.
Yeah.
Howard Dean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Also, another highlight of the JNN stream was Jeff's trivia. When he picked Debbie Downer.
Rachel Dratch.
Yeah.
I screamed.
I was dying.
I cannot believe that.
No, that was good. I didn't know Jerry was born in 94.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
spring chicken.
Wow.
I thought he had a few more years on him.
Spring chicken.
A lot of life in those 30 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of life.
One of my favorite people. Just he's the man.
He's one.
I fuck with Jerry. Yeah, I fuck with Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good episode, guys. I had a lot of good talks.
I got a lot of tweets. Are you gonna show up tomorrow? I can't wait to watch Arian's tears. And I'm like, bro, I'm not invested in this shit like that. Like,
I had someone reach out to me and was like, Arian's gonna be, this, that, and the other. I said, I really don't think he's gonna be like that torn up about it.
nah, and it's my daughter was texting me, right? Because she's like 15, and so she's kind of like trying to understand politics, and I try to guide her for research. I like don't start with your conclusion, and then I always try to like do the research and then come up with a conclusion, right? So like, and she's like extremely trying to like, she's scared and all this stuff, and I'm like, you're listening to the rhetoric, and I was like, the thing about this and why, like, because I get all those tweets too, like, oh, you're crying. I'm like, brother, I live in a tax bracket where a lot of these policies are not going to affect me, and that is a form of privilege, and I understand that, right? And that's something that I work my entire life for, and so it's like it's not going to affect me. Like even women's rights, for example, because it's a state issue, and Trump, if he keeps his word and keeps it a state issue, and he doesn't do a federal ban, like let's say I have somebody in my life that who's young and gets pregnant and doesn't want to, right? I'll respect her right to choose that. And I could travel across state lines, no problem, and get the care that she needs. Or if there's some kind of complication in somebody's pregnancy, I can make that happen very easily. But it's like, there's a lot of people in certain tax brackets that can't do that. And they're stuck with whatever happens. And there has been people that have died and stuff like that. So that's, I weep and mourn for that. But like, as far as like, I don't get caught in like my guy didn't win, because one, that wasn't my guy. But two, I think in general, like this divisive, my guy won, my team, and that's the shit that led us here. And so like, of course I have a bias, right? It's like a Kendrick Drake beat. I got a bias. I hope my guy wins, or people that share the same views as mine. But like at the end of the day, dog, like I still got to go to work. Y'all still got to go to work and deal with the people who disagree with me vehemently. And like, I keep it a beam. I don't want no smoke and no civil war. I'm not fighting unless you come on my doorstep. I don't want no smoke, bro. So like, I got to live in this society. I'm not radical as cats who's ready to die for this shit. I ain't willing to die for this shit. Like, I have my beliefs. That belief system did not fall through. Life goes on. You regroup, you regather, try to influence the society in a way that you feel benefits your vision of America, and that is what a society is. It's like, I'm not gonna, it's just don't, life goes on, man. I've been through way too much to let something like this rock my core, bro.
Yep. The only commander-in-chief matchup I'm worried about is the Super Bowl. That's what I'm fired up about.
I'll keep it a bean though. Your tweet had me rolling. It was like super long. I normally don't do serious posts. I was dying because I tried to stay off of the shit show during the day. I was golfing at Wingfoot the day of the election. It was beautiful, right? Just kind of away from everything. But I happened to catch your tweet. I was fucking rolling, bro. That shit was funny.
And we got one. We got the best cornerback on the market.
Oh, you did? Who'd you get?
We got Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints.
Oh, that's my guy.
You know him?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the homie. Yeah, we have the same financial advisor.
Oh, well, tell him if he needs anything in Ashburn, Virginia. You got a guy too.
I got you, dog. Yeah. Congratulations, brother. Yeah, he's good. He's a good pickup.
He's a great player. I'm excited about it.
What's their record? They
7-2.
When's the last time y'all 7-2?
We have not been 7-2 since I've had pubic hair.
what a gauge.
1996.
That's crazy.
That's when I was born.
Damn.
This is the first time in McKinsey's life.
Wow, yeah.
that the Commanders have been 7-2.
This is never known a good DC team.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think that we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think that the Lions are better than us. I think that the Eagles might be better than us in the NFC. And maybe a team, either the Packers might be better. And the 49ers could be better depending on who they get back and how well they play.
You're missing one.
I think the Commanders are better than the Falcons.
We'll see. They play late in the season.
They do, yeah.
Could play in the playoffs.
Kirk Cousins' revenge game.
Kirk Cousins going to D.C. in the playoffs.
Can you imagine?
That could be sick.
Wow.
Scenes, aura.
Absolute scenes. But I don't think that I think we're probably like third best team maybe in the NFC right now, maybe fourth. We've flawed defense. Our offense has been incredible this year, scoring on over 60% of the drives, which is like far and away the best in the league. And then I think the Chiefs are better. There's a couple teams out there in the AFC that I think would absolutely smoke us. Like the Ravens are better, clearly. Bills, I think, are better. Chiefs, better. But you never know. You never know what could happen.
Browns beat the Ravens. Anything's possible.
That's true. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. Well, Jameis beat the Ravens.
Jameis.
Yeah, we don't have Jameis.
But we don't have Jaden.
But that's I'm excited to get back to caring about real important stuff, like how good the football team that plays football in my hometown is doing this year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey, a real cool thing just for the pod. Did I cut you off? My fault.
No, go ahead.
I was saying a real cool thing for the pod. This is in New York now. Like I was at Wingfoot, which is like I keep mentioning it because it was like a really dope thing for you. It was like they held U.S. Opens there. It's like a really prestigious course, and you have to walk it. And so I'm walking. I'm literally like on the 16th, 17th hole, and some dude comes driving up with a cart, and he goes, "Arian." I'm like, "What's going on, man?" He's like, "Dude, I'm literally listening to Macrodosing right now in my ears." He's like, "Shout out to the pod, man. Much love. Heard you was out here. Keep rocking." I was like, "That's dope."
Did
man.
he work there?
Yeah, why was he on a
Yeah,
cart?
he worked there. He worked there.
That's so fun.
I've had
I
that a
love
few
that.
times. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
happened
that
to
was
you at the
really dope,
airport?
man.
Yeah, that
So shout
happened
out
to me at the airport one time. Someone came up to me at the airport and they were like, "I'm listening to you right now." And I was like, "Holy shit."
When it's on their screen, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Holy shit, that's insane."
That's pretty dope, man. Shout out to y'all that
I
make us
forget
a part of your
sometimes that
lives.
people listen to this.
All the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
bunch of
funny.
people.
Far too
Yeah,
often.
that's
I forget.
genuine as shit because that means twice a week you just show up to kick it with the homies, Big T. That's
I mean, listen, I've said it before. I talk to you more than most of my family. We talk 6-7 hours a week.
That's facts, though. That's facts.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But it's just it's weird. Like sometimes when you see someone listening to it, you're like, I kind of forgot that people do that. Like I know it, but it's you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say this: what a wholesome show for a highly contentious moment in U.S. history. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's good that we had 3.5 years before the election came around. I think if we started this show in summer of 2019,
I've been tough, man.
I don't think it would have been good. But
the synergy wasn't there. I hadn't sat at a baseball game and had a brew with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But I think that's a good lesson for people. Like most people in the country are pretty like you would like.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Our interests are far more aligned than you think that they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck
All right.
Nancy Pelosi.
Agreed. Like literally?
I mean,
Cannons.
get enough angry orchards in me.
Cannons. All right. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Love you guys.